Hi, my name is Haseeb. I'm with Rafay. I am about to talk about the Rafay platform as it relates to the AI use cases. So, portal where somebody can log in as an end user. This is white label ready. So our customers will change it to whatever they want it to be. And they will decide to sell whatever they want to sell on the left, because each of these is a template in our platform. But for their end customer, who may belong to a team that belongs to an enterprise, and they may have 1,000 enterprise customers each, they all get a different experience potentially. Because of the standardization work we've done in the platform, because of the IAC concepts we have thought about, because of the GitOps pipelines that are built into the platform, it's not like there's Argo. Of course, all very cool things, but when you start thinking about a platform that will drive consumption for 1,000 enterprises, GitOps, it cannot be a tool that we use. GitOps is actually part of the system. So our platform is actually built on a Git engine. Otherwise, we can't do configuration management across so many people. Our platform needs to understand what identity means at a very different level of multi-tenancy. Because in our world, yeah, my customer could have 1,000 enterprise customers, each with their own Azure AD account, by the way. And they will log in, God knows with what URL, and it should work. But eventually they come here, and they can come and ask for a bare metal server. And this SSID, I have no policy for that. I hope I have something for VMs. Where am I logged in? Am I logged in the wrong place? Clearly, I did not tell my colleagues to. Okay, no problem. See, this is how you know it's a real environment, right? Number 7, if you're counting, Brian. So I'm going to log in actually to a test environment for a customer, because clearly my environment is not what it needs to be right now, but that actually makes it more interesting. This customer, for example, has decided to offer 3 kinds of services: compute, platform, and industry AI. So by the way, this is all configurable white label. They can call it whatever they like. And to their customers, they offer 3 compute functions, form factors: Kubernetes, bare metal, GPU as a service, bare metal, VMs.
There's GPU as a service.
It is a thing.
It is a thing, 19%. And the idea is that if all you want is Kubernetes, which why would you need it? But okay, you gotta sell compute, right? It's something that you must do. It should be so simple that you just tell me what version you want, everything else is magic. And if I were to run it, it'll take 15, 20 minutes. It's gonna give me essentially a service account. Here you go, connect to it, done. Or kubeconfig if that's what you want. Or you may sell platform services. Now, in this case, they're offering NVIDIA services, NVIDIA NIM, for example. It's a tool that you may have heard of, but the experience is very simple. I just want to consume a model. I don't need to understand anything else. Or agentic applications. I just want an agent. Library. So our world collided with this AI space because of 2 reasons. One was the core platform, which does this sort of the self-service consumption using standardization. Of course, that turned out to be a really important thing, because otherwise it's really hard to run a cloud. See, as a cloud company, I can't behave like an IT organization where I talk to somebody and there's a ticket. None of that has to happen. It has to just work. And the second thing was, we had built a platform in our company that we built because we thought it was really cool. We didn't really know what to do with it till we ran into AI. So we built essentially a serverless layer where you can bring any code, run it on top of a Kubernetes or VM environment, and you can run n pieces of code at different points based on what the output of the previous piece of code is, and deliver an experience. So we were just playing around with it, and we took Kubeflow and we built that as an experience. And we showed it to people, and they said, this is pretty cool, we'd buy it. So we sold it. And that became an AI product. But we started with something entirely different. We were trying to solve a very simple problem. We were trying to solve a platform engineering problem. We think we've done a pretty good job of that. But we were a small company in that space. And then using this serverless layer that we built, where you can bring your own code and deploy it, which we have. And in fact, we've had partners do that as well, partners like DataRobot. We can deliver DataRobot as a service because we own the infrastructure for the provider, and we wrote the serverless layer where DataRobot came and wrote their own code. And we can sell that as a card in our platform. We can sell anything. We can sell NVIDIA applications, which we do. NIM is an application from NVIDIA or tool. DataRobot is a full-fledged app, Dataiku, Kubernetes, many things. And when we kind of recognized what we had in our hands, we said, gosh, man, we can take this to market. So then we look.
All these other services are customer-generated solutions that they put on top of this?
The purple ones are partner-generated. These were written by a partner who's supporting this specific telco. This partner, if you recognize the logo, is number 8.
Yep.
Who is it?
But that's their logo. But yeah, I mean, Ray, this could be homegrown. It could be
homegrown. People do this all day long.
It could be a lot of it. So when I'm looking at like the code converter, for example, right? Think of it. I put in my mind ahead of that word compliant. Like some kind. There are some. Every shop has their own set of rules and customs and like whatever, right? So rather than like they're training some sort of model or tuning some sort of model to get you halfway there, using conversions that they've already done, and then now you can expose it in a catalog.
So here's another example of something similar. So I finally remember the user. Just took me forever to remember the user. But okay, this is another environment. We keep playing with these things. So, but basically same idea. I just want a notebook.
Like a Jupyter notebook?
Yeah, just a notebook. Oh, I know why. Because I don't have a catalog. There you go. I just want a notebook. Yes, I want a notebook, and I got it. Right. So. Now these are test environments. You'll see a bunch of variations of the same thing, but the idea is that our customers will pick one of these and provide them to their customers. But I just want to know what profile I need, and maybe optionally, I have these GPUs available, and it should be completely an experience like you get in Amazon. This could be on-prem. This could be in a GPU cloud, because both are my customers. But I just want to make sure we tie this back to the previous conversation. The reason why we're able to do this is not because this is an IDP. How do I know there are GPUs available? Because we have an inventory management system. Where does a Jupyter notebook run? On a Kubernetes cluster. Where did that come from? We built one. How do I know this Kubernetes cluster is compliant to the policies of this company? We have the blueprints for that. How do I give this guy access? We have identity management. How do I do this across many companies? We have multi-tenancy. All of the rules from before must be true. Otherwise, you cannot run a platform engineering function. You cannot run a cloud.
Just to be clear, the endpoint of this is that the Jupyter notebook appears at my mail stop or whatever, and I can go
some IP address
provisioned, or is it a virtual Jupyter notebook that I'm getting?
Would you like one in your mail?
I'm just asking.
Yeah, it's a URL. Yeah. It's a URL. Yeah. Yep. It's a URL. Yeah. So you'll get a URL.
Yeah.
You just connect to it on the internet.
Okay.
And it's going to be a token, and you play. It's a cloud. It's a full cloud experience. Now the customer may decide, I don't want to do this on the internet.
Because that would have been an interesting trick. Is
send a mail.
Physical notebook as a service. PNAS. Yeah.
If I build it for you.
That's a tricky acronym there.
Maybe PHNAS.
There's not a certain connection though. That.
I think you gotta explain that.
Pull back.
Well, so like
new rule.
I mean, are you doing something fancy around like the network connectivity to things like vSphere? Because I mean, I'll be honest, I was able to go and log in and create myself an account on your website here.
Yes.
And get into it.
For a SaaS
Not a place for me to go add.
Yeah, because somebody has to allow you to do that. But yes, I once we take a break, I will do that for you. I will give you access, and you can.
Oh no, I mean that's what I'm saying. Does this need to have? Is this designed for I can deploy my own vSphere and then give myself access to it with this, or is it is there like a gRPC fun like tunnel thing that gives access to it?
So for vSphere, what's going to happen is you're going to deploy what we call an agent in your environment. What a fancy name, GitOps agent, right? And that agent is going to talk to your vSphere environment where's my cluster, infrastructure, cluster. And basically we'll create, no, where is it? Cloud credential. So we'll create a cloud credential for quote unquote vSphere.
Yep.
Okay. And that agent is going to talk to your vSphere, and that agent talks back to our cloud, command and control. Now we can do anything to your vSphere environment.
Gotcha. Cool. Okay.
Poor choice of words. We will not do anything to your cloud environment. But that's how it works.
That does bring up a good question.
Which is?
Right? Where are all the security?
Yeah, let's talk about that. So our enterprise customers use our SaaS product. It's a SOC 2 Type 2 compliant platform. We very frequently share our, sort of pen test reports, etc., with our customers. Seems pretty good. So the nice thing about SOC 2 is that you understand that our operation controls are pretty good. So nobody can just log in and kind of do whatever they want with it. So we don't, for sure. We also provide reports on our agents, ma'am, so that you are comfortable that anything deploying in your deployed network is sound. But the larger customers don't do that. So the larger customers do not use the super large customers or the cloud providers. They are not using our SaaS product. What they are doing is they are using our air gap product. So the Rafay SaaS controller, the cell, we can deploy it anywhere. We can help you remotely manage it, or you can work with a partner. Many of our partners are trained to do this. Some enterprises can do this themselves, some cannot. The ones who cannot, they can work with a partner who will manage it for them on-prem. If you want this to be truly air-gapped, which many of our customers do. So every GPU cloud provider is doing this in an air-gap fashion. Makes sense. How can they rely on a third-party SaaS control plane for their command and control? So that's how, Gina, we address the security questions. Thank you, ma'am. I look down when I talk to Gina because there's a screen at the bottom that I'm looking at.
He's looking down on you, Gina.
I can sit on the ground. It's all good. So,
Oh gosh.
all right. So the idea is that different customers will want to sell different things, right? So they'll want some compute functions that they sell, and you see a bunch of them on the left. This is a test environment, so there's a bunch of silly examples. Or they want some AI/ML platform. Okay, now you can call them other things. You can call them. You don't have to call it Unsloth. You can call it RAG, because maybe you don't want to tell people what it's built on. But the idea is that you can sell anything. And we've now seen some very creative things happen on our platform, where A, they build these use cases on our platform. So we bring a library of them, and you can sell them. We don't, it's fine. B, they bring them, and then they put a price point on them. If I can find an example of that, I'll show you. But basically, you can tie prices to these things. Maybe here, I don't know. And the intent of that is that we have a billing engine, or I should say a billing metrics engine in our platform that you can tie to Salesforce or NetSuite or whatever tool you like, Monetize 360. And you can start generating bills for your customers, or do this internally. You can do chargebacks if that's all you care about, or you can actually generate bills for your customers. So in our platform, you can make a decision. Brian's going to pay $2 an hour for something, but Guy's going to pay $3 an hour. And the platform will track it. It's supposed to be a cloud. You should be able to do an agreement with the customer. If they pay for 6 months or a year, they should get a better deal versus the on-demand customer. You can do that too. Trying to help you build a cloud. Now, even that capability we built for enterprises, thinking enterprises need it, and they do, but it turns out that the cloud customers need exactly the same.
Right.
Every large enterprise has been trying to become a cloud provider without owning the infrastructure. And I wish what I just said was clear to me 3 years ago. It wasn't.
Right.
We were solving for platform engineering. The problem is much bigger. The problem is, how do I operate a cloud? I may own some of this infrastructure, I may rent some of this infrastructure, or I may lease some of this infrastructure. But it's my cloud sitting on top of somebody else's infrastructure. That provider could be Amazon or CoreWeave, my cloud, my policies. And that's the opportunity. Going back to the original question, what is the opportunity? And when it comes to that big problem, nobody does it better than Rafay. To Gina's question about who do you compete with, ma'am? We compete with people who build this themselves. Because there's no one thing out there who can do this. Now, This diagram, as I shared earlier, is on NVIDIA's website. So of course, it talks about NVIDIA's applications and tools. But of course, we've looked at a whole library of things that can be delivered. And of course, we do. The number one use case right now is model as a service. 100% of the time, everybody wants that. And the number two use case is single GPU VM. That's like across the world.
Yep.
Those are the two use cases. Everything else comes second. Distant third, distant fourth.
I mean, do you support MIG and MSP? And
Yes, sir.
sort of thing,
Absolutely.
GPU virtualization kind
Absolutely.
of
Oh, 100%. So, in fact, I thought my colleagues just wrote a blog about this, or DRAs. Oh, they write a lot of blogs. When do they do work? Maybe it's easier to do MIG. Yeah. So there's a bunch of strategies we recommend that you use depending on the situation.
Just to clarify something on that previous slide that you were just showing,
Which one, sir?
the grid,
Oh, yeah.
NVIDIA slide.
The stack.
the NVIDIA, yes.
There you go.
So when you say data center down there on your environment vendoring, that's your data center, correct?
We don't own anything. We're just a software company. It's the customer's data center.
customer.
Well, okay, no. If
when you say
I
you,
was
I mean-
using your product, it would be my data center.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but
Yes.
it could also be my Azure environment.
right,
That's
exactly.
right.
And it could also be my edge implementation.
Yeah. Look,
Okay.
when we raised money for this company, nobody even thought that, 6, 7 years later, people would be building data centers again. At the time, it was all cloud, right? But of course, now the world is very different.
It's the dessert topping and the floor wax.
How does this run on
Hopefully
the
not in the
edge?
same spoonful.
How does it run on the edge systems with 3 servers and it doesn't
Yeah.
seem like it's applicable in that environment.
Okay, let's talk about that. So we have a customer who runs Kubernetes on cruise ships. Man, this website is very different than what I remember it to be. Zero Trust. How do I click on it? Docs. Okay. Oh, there. Okay. So this customer runs Kubernetes on cruise ships. The cruise ships have satellite links. There's no VPN. Okay, so think about this for a minute. So the controller, the Rafay controller, in this case happens to be SaaS. It's running out there somewhere on the internet. The cluster is on a cruise ship. How do I get to it to manage it? So Gina, this is a security issue that we thought about a lot, and we applied a very unique way to solve the problem. So we wanted to solve this problem. So our thinking was, what if we run a SaaS service and there are 100,000 clusters that we need to manage now for our customers? How are we going to open up ports on their firewalls to get to them? Yeah, that's not going to happen. Nobody's going to let us open up all these ports. But what if the cluster could reach out and talk to us? There's nothing special about that, right? We all understand that, right? Inside-out connectivity.
Yep.
But the problem with that is, how do I know to whom I give access to what? So in the security space, there's a concept called software-defined perimeter, SDP. So we basically built an SDP for Kubernetes. So we essentially run a proxy service on the internet where the yellow or orange colored box is, right? So when you do a kubectl to a cluster, you think you're talking to the cluster, actually you're not. You're talking to an endpoint on the internet. And it authenticates you, authorizes you, and it knows who you are, where you're trying to get to, and you talk to the proxy, and the cluster talks to the proxy. CDN, it's a CDN for Kube. We're the only company who does that in the market. But because of this, we can now manage a tiny cluster on a cruise ship, and on top of that, when it comes to Kubernetes, we can run a single node remotely managed Kubernetes cluster, single node. And the overhead for Rafay bits and all the stuff that we do in these clusters is less than 2 cores, virtual cores. So we can actually run a pretty small box with Kubernetes at the edge, and we can manage 1,000 of them. Nobody can do this but Rafay.
So I apologize, but I'm still a little confused. I'm trying
Yes,
to
sir.
reconcile your SOC 2 compliance with we're just a software company. So are you providing only the software stack, or are you actually providing services as well?
We don't sell, we run a SaaS service, and we also optionally provide that same software as subscription to our customers, and they deploy our SaaS service in their data center, basically, right? So they run a version of Rafay. We don't sell any services. We have a very strong support team that will help you all day long, but we don't provide professional services or anything.
No, I don't. I mean, SaaS service.
Yes, sir. We do run a SaaS service. The reason why I keep switching back and forth, and my apologies, I should have clarified. Thank you for asking the question. We started this company thinking all we will do is SaaS. Then we got punched in the face by a large company who said, no, I like it, but I'm going to run it here. So then we had to think about a different way to architect this, where we created this concept of cells, like truly cells. So these are 3-node highly available systems that you can deploy N of them. And in theory, I say in theory because we don't do them all the time. We can manage them all centrally if the customer chooses for us to do so. Or a partner can do it, or the customer can do it themselves. So it's a very elegant architecture so that we can have a multi-control plane, if you will. That's what we have built. In reality, what happens is we run a SaaS. We run multiple SaaS instances on the internet because different regions will have different needs, right? But then many of our larger customers, they just run a Rafay in-house.
So if I'm an enterprise, a smaller enterprise or a smaller MSP, I might use the SaaS version. But if I'm a larger or I want to do my own thing, I could deploy in my site, whether it's a cloud or my on-prem data center or wherever, the Rafay tool set and the whole stack myself.
Yes, sir. It's a pretty significantly large tarball that you're going to download to get that going, but yes. Okay. You can do that, and I was going to say the problem, but this is not a problem per se. But a lot of our business right now over the last year has been GPU clouds globally. So they're not going to use our SaaS service, right? Because they want to be sovereign. Right. But then we end up deploying a Rafay instance in their environment. So that's become sort of our go-to right now.
And that would be the AI use case, where
the AI use case is consistently sovereign.
They want a complete sovereign environment, but they want the power of your tools to manage and deploy the infrastructure rather than building their own stack of 20 different open source tools and whatever.
You can launch something in 2 years, or you can launch something in 2 months. What is better, right? And 2 months is better.
Well, it depends on how much you cost.
Our product, me, or the product?
They seem to be the same thing.
That's what I guess it's all the same. Right? It's like, pretty much eponymous, I guess, at this point. So here's how we do math on the AI side, right? So at the beginning of this conversation, we talked about per GPU per hour pricing, right? The premise is that, hey, Mr. Customer, if your cost to build infrastructure, power, cooling, everything is, let's call it $150, as we discussed earlier in this conversation, and you could sell it for $180, or you can sell it for $3, or depends, right, on the use case. If you sell model as a service, you can actually make more money than that depending on the model. If you make $3, $4, whatever, would you pay me 20 cents an hour?
Yeah.
If you have consumption.
Yeah.
So the answer is yes. Will you pay me 30 cents an hour for the right use case? And that's a conversation we're having. So we're basically talking to them about consumption-based pricing on the upside that they will experience now that they have the right software stack. And it's a very simple conversation, actually. Right? And we tell them, hey, look, pay us something upfront, right? We want to get some minimum commit, 100 GPUs, 200 GPUs, something so we can, wet our beaks, and after that, everything is consumption-based. The good news is, when people have software, they seem to have consumption. Everybody wins, and they're happy to pay. Now, in the enterprise world, obviously, that's not a concept, right? There's no concept of consumption. It's their infrastructure. In the enterprise space, we're going also something similar. So we're saying, hey, let's look at your infrastructure. You may have 1,000 clusters, but let's not do that. Let's go with your top team, somebody in the most pain. Let's start small. Always start small. Once they kind of feel good about the investment, once you have their trust, it all grows. But start small. And as a small company, we can get away with these things, right? Large companies sometimes have too much overhead. We are still a small company. We're 150 people, right? So we can get away with those kinds of strategies. But on the AI side with GPU clouds, they love the consumption model.
So back to the models of consumption. So you've got either you provide it as a SaaS, or you can give it to people and they can install locally. So when they get it as a SaaS, what does it sit on top of?
So our SaaS service runs, in the US, we run it on Amazon. In other regions, we do run it in OCI. It depends on the region, because we end up running multiple endpoints on the internet, looking for something cheap, right, basically. Right? OCI, they've been very kind to us. They've given us great deals globally. And AWS, we've been with forever, so we just kind of keep using it. If it's on-prem, then you decide. That'll be VMware, bare metal, whatever's easy for you, right? And I would definitely recommend, you don't need, bare metal systems, don't waste the money, right? Just spin up VMs, good to go.
Are there any advantages they get with Amazon, the further integration to things that they might already have? Is that a value?
Thank you. Excellent question. So, sort of the Terraform provider we've written to set up our controller, because might as well, right? Might as well write a Terraform provider for that. It assumes that this is AWS or Azure or GCP or vSphere. So it understands that if it's in Amazon, it's going to spin up the services that it knows it needs to spin up the, in Amazon. But then similarly, it understands that if it's in an air-gapped environment where there's no access to anything, it's going to spin up, for example, MySQL, because it knows that I need MySQL. So I'm just going to spin up the pods, and that's just that's a Helm chart thing, right? So we know exactly what's going on.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Such interesting questions. All right. Should I go back to the deck? I got like 70 more slides.
Why not?
Okay.
Really quick slide, man.
There are my there.
New slide every
Time for
15
the speed
seconds.
round.
Okay. So I'm going to skip a bunch of these things, but I think we've already discussed this, right? The whole point of standardization, et cetera, was, hey, look, if you do all these things, self-service becomes very easy, because then you actually can reliably let people press buttons, because the buttons will always mean the same thing. So then you would be comfortable giving them self-service access. And that's when people ask us, hey, can I do this for AI? The Kubeflow story that I was telling you earlier. Sure. And that became a whole business for us. And that led us to our friends at NVIDIA. I mentioned earlier that there's content on the website about us. We published a reference architecture with them that talks about this notion of a GPU platform as a service, GPU PaaS. At present, we are the only company for quite some time now that has a reference architecture at that layer with NVIDIA. So that gives us a lot of advantage, because in the AI space, RAs are, they're the gold standard. If you have one, you're good. If you don't have one, go fight it out. Right? So we have one. And definitely the blog is very good. I mean, actually, let's go back to the blog for a second. So the blog, the reason why I like it a lot is because it focuses on self-service. There's clear alignment that this is the real problem. Doesn't matter GPU, CPU. Of course, GPU, there's very few of them in any one environment, so you want to do a better job of that, right? You don't want to waste time. But this is the problem, to the prior point that we were talking about, right? This is the problem. Everything stems for this. If you solve for this, and of course, the supporting cast of other technologies that need to be in place to deliver self-service consumption, everything is fun. This is it.
Why do you think this problem exists?
I think that for the longest time, people have gotten obsessed over the tech, right? And we've forgotten the purpose of it all. Like Pivotal. I think Pivotal is amazing. Like Pivotal is amazing. So, earlier I showed you an example of somebody who deploys Java code, MySQL. You know who does that? Pivotal does that. They've done it forever. Don't exist anymore, unfortunately. Right? So our perspective was, look, Pivotal, because they existed before Docker and Kubernetes and all these. So they had to invent all these things in a very proprietary way. What if we could reimagine Pivotal for the new world? I mean, in theory, not that that was not the sort of the problem statement in our minds at the time, but that's a very good way to think about the problem, right? They did it right.
I have a different theory, which is that so much of the AI marketing and discussion and strategic focus has been around training foundational models and delivering them at scale, when I would think that, 50%, 60% of the activity right now is experimentation and small models and messing around with stuff that does not lend itself to
the training guy.
When you're training foundational models, you can start building out the service and this team and all that sort of stuff for 3 months before you start revving the next model and all that other sort of stuff. You don't need the self-service in this.
You don't need any of this because you have the right people. So,
but I don't. That's
so what your
it's like a hobby horse of mine is.
But that's a very sound point, right? Because most people a year and a half ago, look, people would talk about this, right? People would say every company is going to build a model. Why the hell are you going to build a model? I don't understand. But that didn't work out.
Yeah, right? Build your own model instead of tune it, or build an application on something that exists. Right? Add RAG or something. I did one of those flash presentations here about how there's actually 3 different avenues of AI development. Foundational model creation is only one of them.
So now people say inferencing is going to be the 10x use case, and we will see. But definitely right now, the biggest use case is experimentation, where people start small and self-service is key. I think that, look, I mean, I tie this back to the last 5 years of sort of my life, right? As I've been out selling product, right? People get caught up with the tech, man. People are enamored with the tech. January of 2024, I did a presentation for our board. The first slide in the presentation said, Kubernetes is now furniture. Nobody cares anymore. There was an expletive in there as well that I just removed, right? And the point of that slide was, I think that the world's going to change very fast. This is 2020, so basically a year and a half ago. I think that we need to think beyond just Kubernetes management. We need to think about what are the use cases, and we need to really do this fast. And we did, which is why we are here. So we basically reinvented ourselves like 4 or 5 years into the company, or we could have not, and we would still be where we were. But because we took a pause and we thought about, okay, look, what is the real problem here? We started this company thinking about self-service, and all we talk about these days in our company is Kubernetes management and the better CNI, and this is not it. This is not why we started this company. Let's just take a pause. Let's take a step back. What is the real issue? That's when we started building that serverless layer I talked about earlier, and because of that, we are here now. Because we remembered the original purpose. The original purpose was consumption. Self-service consumption, you do that well, everything is fine. And this blog talks about that in a very elegant way. I definitely recommend you read it. It has that diagram we looked at earlier for quite a while. There's somewhere here, I thought there was, oh yeah, there's a customer reference, right? So it's pretty cool, right? So we use this a lot as we talk to customers, right? I mean, hey, did you see that blog about Rafay on NVIDIA's side? We say that a lot on a daily basis. But they do this because they understand the problem. Like, I really do believe that, like, of course, they have the biggest market percentage, right? So they are the kings of this market. They see it all day long. They understand that consumption is key. They do, Dell does, etc. And that's where we're seeing our business. You solve for self-service consumption, everything is great. Sorry, go ahead, Gina.
I'm sorry. Where are you getting your customers from? Like what verticals or what kind of things are they producing? Right? What customers are coming to you?
So the GPU cloud market, as it's called right now, ma'am, seems to be very active. So people who have, actually a bunch of them happen to be sort of crypto mining companies who have now become GPU providers. They are looking for software to deliver high-value services to enterprise customers. There are data center companies who have also invested in this globally, who are doing this. There are now government-funded sort of organizations globally who are deploying GPUs for their local regions. So that's where we are seeing a lot of uptick. On the enterprise side, we see two sort of sectors where there's more activity than others. And this could be anecdotal. This may not be representative of the market. Financial services and pharma. Pharma, healthcare, life science bucket. We see a lot of AI activity in those two segments. Yeah, FinServ is it's like everybody's doing something. And they all have the money to invest. So we whiteboarded this with some friends of ours on the DevRel side at NVIDIA, where in the early days when I was trying to explain to them, because they were asking similar questions, but what the hell do you do, right? I thought I already had Kubernetes solved for, and that company looks cooler, and I like crossplane, and I've had this conversation many times with them, and I was trying to explain to them, the problem is not the environment vendor anymore. The problem is the governance layer. You solve for that, you solve everything. So we've also talked about this. And I'm happy that all the slides that are going to come up, we've already talked about in some fashion, but these are just representations of the problem. How do you run a cloud? Be it an enterprise or be it a company that is going to sell to multiple enterprises. You really have to think about tenancy in a different way. And at each level, you better be able to set policies, quotas. When you set up an account in Amazon, by default, you have a policy. You will not have more than this much compute. If you're a free account holder, you can only do T1s, for example. Right. It's a policy. And then somebody goes and changes the policy. You have to file a ticket for that, by the way, right? We should be able to do the same. We can. We were doing this for large enterprises anyway. Again, because we built this for this crazy large enterprise use case, it just so happens that, in the GPU space, they sort of look the same. So, very blessed and lucky to have been pulled into this market with a product that meets this need. And the alternatives out there don't seem to have thought about multi-tenancy in this fashion. The only company in our journal space who understands this notion of an MSP is actually VMware, vCloud Director. Great product. Doesn't do this. Not that I don't mean the tenancy part. I mean the AI use cases one or not.
You mean AI Cloud Director?
Yeah.
AI Cloud Director.
AI Cloud Director. Don't give them ideas, man. They'll launch it tomorrow.
No, they've already gone.
They have one?
Yeah, they already call it that.
Oh my God. Okay, all right. All of us should have seen that coming, right? We talked about this slide as well.
So when you're box 6, network segmentation there, are you segmenting the front and the back networks?
When you say back, what do you mean?
GPU networks.
So the GPU networks, I have a,
Oh,
yeah, this is a better distinction, right? So this is a very dumb diagram. This was whiteboarded. I happen to be in India with a specific solution architect from NVIDIA who will know who he is when he hears it. I hope he does. And he whiteboarded this in their office in Bombay. And then I made a slide out of it. It should at one point make it better. But the point of the slide is that there are many things an orchestration system has to do.
Right.
2 of them are the north-south and east-west network. So what you call the back end, which is east-west. The GPUs need to talk to each other.
Correct. It's the east-west that nobody sees.
So the UFM layer at the bottom of the screen is that. So UFM is the endpoint in NVIDIA land for InfiniBand configuration. So if I need a new P key for InfiniBand, I talk to UFM. So we have a solution for that. We talk to UFM and it's gonna create a new P key so that your GPUs can sort of interface with each other in a mesh. But similarly, I need to have a north-south network, right? So I need a VLAN for that, and then I need to make sure the servers belong to the right VLAN so they can all network with each other.
And that north-south feels like a solved problem. So I have a good sense of how that's done.
Same problem, actually, right? They both have the same problem. The issue is the automation. Right. So we've built now a nice integration with our friends at NVIDIA. We do this for the other vendors, at least in the InfiniBand space, we only NVIDIA. On the Ethernet side, we have a solution for Dell switches, Fortinet switches, etc. And we keep adding to our library so that over time, as more and more different options come our way, the next guy is going to get it for free. The first guy, we got to build something together. Next guy's going to get it for free. And similarly, if you look at this picture, so we talked about switching just now. BCM is NVIDIA's BCM. So this is Bright Cluster Manager. So if you are an NVIDIA certified NCP is what they call it. So NVIDIA Cloud Partner, which means you're a GPU cloud that follows their reference architecture for GPU clouds. Then usually you will end up using BCM for bare metal provisioning and server management, if you will. So we support that as well. If you don't want to use it, which is fine, there are multiple options for bare metal provisioning, such as BMAS or Ironic. So our team seems to like Ironic a lot, but MAS is a great option as well. But these are some examples of automation sort of touch points that one has to think about when one is building a network. Including the billing aging on the top left. We must have some way to tell people it costs this much money. So this is the sort of the final outcome, right? So this is the stack. You've seen variations of this already today. So that NVIDIA picture is a variation for sure in some way. But this is how our product management team thinks about the problem. So they think in terms of sort of cloud management and cloud services. So cloud management is the network, the servers, the VPC. All of these things have to be thought through somehow. And then the cloud services could be everything from the compute services, VMs, Kubernetes, et cetera, to the tools themselves. There's a gray box on there. It's gray because we don't have it today to sell. Hopefully so. So the team believes Q4, we'll have a sort of a very nice fine-tuning service built into the platform as well. Today we have an inferencing endpoint. Very good. Don't have a fine-tuning product.
And you had a couple of bugs in the earlier slide under infrastructure. One was edge, and I don't remember what the other one was.
Data center, edge, remote cruise ship.
No, it was yeah.
Should I?
But
This was
I'll
the
stick to them.
other picture. Is this picture?
Yeah, yeah. It was just remote. Oh. Yeah, remote. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know, man.
Those are included in the one you had there. You just don't have it yet.
Yeah, they all.
What is that OCI or something? The red cloud.
The red one is
Oracle. Yeah.
Yeah, OCI. Yeah.
Just one quick question. The one thing I don't see provisioning for is memory.
provisioning for memory. So memory in the AI cases is going to be sort of part and parcel. So there'll be some memory, sort of on-chip memory or memory on the side. So in the VM case, there is a configuration when you can have a pre-packaged solution. So you can say, I'm going to sell 2 virtual cores and 2 gigs of RAM, and we will create that on demand. Or you can say, let my customer choose. So we provide actually both options.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we must, because most people actually don't want to sell a mix and match because of bin packing problems. So what they do is actually they'll create small, medium, large configurations or whatever, extra large, etc. And they'll have clusters dedicated to only small, cluster for only medium, cluster for only large, bin packing. They don't want to waste any capacity. So if you let people pick and choose, then you'll have fragmentation issues.